and welcome to the Phoenix Rising podcast. I am so happy that you're here. Welcome. Come on in. Snuggle on up. Actually, this episode is coming from my car, so hop on into the passenger seat, and this will be kind of like if you and I were in the car together for about, 45 minutes to an hour. I don't really know how long this episode's going to be, but if we were, and you popped into the passenger seat and decided to take this ride with me, this is kind of what the experience would be like. We would just sit here and have this conversation about life and everything in between, and then after about an hour of that, it'd probably turn into playing DJ with the radio, and then you can hop right back out and go about your life. So welcome to my car. Welcome to this podcast. This episode is going to be super interesting just because it's a concept that keeps coming up for me. And I've talked about it before in other podcasts, but I never actually did a full episode on it. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys about it because hopefully this idea behind it will give you some kind of gut punch clarity on your life and then light a fire under your ass to get you going. Because that seems to be an issue a lot of people have, is it's like, all right, let me kind of backtrack. So a lot of people get stuck in routine and going through the motion. I see this in the gym every day. People literally do the same workout every day, the same process. We start with this warm up, then we do this squat. Then on Tuesdays, we do bis and tris. Then on Wednesdays, we're going to go do a cycle class, whatever it is. And I feel bored for those people because I don't typically ever do the same workout twice unless I am retesting things. And my clients can actually attest to this because they don't ever do the same workout twice either when I'm doing their programming. But getting off track here, my whole point in this is the biggest problem people have is they kind of get put on autopilot in their life. Now, we'll go to some big life-changing place, we go to a life-changing event, or we have a life-changing event, and it stirs something in us that causes us to make radical change. However, that's not an experience we have every single day. So we'll make these big changes, and then we start in these new patterns and habits and routine, and then before we know it, years go by and we've been doing the same thing for years and years on end. And this can be as simple as eating the same thing every day, stuck in the same career every day. The hard part is when we start these new things, they're super exciting because it's like a big burst of growth. So we start on this path using weight loss as the example. We start on this path you know what? I'm lifting, I'm getting in shape, I'm losing weight, I'm cutting out sugar, we're doing all these things. And at the beginning, it's really, really exciting. The reason it's so exciting is because we are starting a new journey, a new path, a new opportunity for growth. So we aren't so excited about the work, we're excited about who we're going to become. So we do this, and then we've developed our new habits and our new routine. We've kind of gone through this transformation process. But then somewhere along the line, now we're stuck in new patterns in our new routine, and it sneaks up on us. It doesn't just happen overnight. So the whole thing behind this is just to really help you come up with a tool that you can use regularly in your life that keeps you awake, keeps you on your toes, and keeps you continually evolving, growing, and becoming everything that you want to become. Because deep down, that's really the truth. When people struggle with depression or lack of self-esteem or confidence, or they just feel kind of stuck or lackluster, it's usually because they don't really have any drive or purpose or sense of direction of where they're headed. They realize they got to wherever they wanted to go, and now they're there, and they're just going through the motions every day trying to figure out, is this it? What's next? Something's missing. And like I said, apply this to anything. Maybe you had a big goal of buying a house, and then you get so excited and you have something to work for. You've got all this fire and drive and inspiration in you, and then you get the house, and now you're just in it, and you're like, oh, well, now what? That was my big fun and my big highlight. And you see this a lot. People do this with weddings. And I'm only using this as an example because I was hearing a girl talk about this recently, how she had post-wedding blues. It's actually a thing where people spend so much time and energy and a year to a year and a half planning and just inspired of like the dress and the details and the place and the food and the people and all these things. And then the event happens and people are kind of depressed that it's over because that was all they had to live for. That was the excitement in their life. And even to the point that they're like, well, the relationship's actually not that exciting either. I was just excited about having a big party and getting married. So how do you fix this? What do you do? How do you continually create excitement and inspiration in your life when you've been going through the motions for so long? And here's the thing is, you know when things need a little lift. You know when you're feeling restless, or maybe you're not feeling restless, maybe you're not feeling anything, and that's the problem in general. So we're going to talk about this today. We're going to talk about 5 wishes from your deathbed. And I can't say that I came up with this. Somebody else did. That's not the name of the book. I don't remember the name of the book. It's like five wishes unfulfilled or something along those lines. Like I said, I mentioned this once in another podcast. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to tell you about the concept in this podcast. You don't need to go buy the book. But first, I did get some questions. Actually, I've had a lot of questions, and I've just been adding them to notes in my phone to make sure that I answer all of them about so many things. And they're all pretty much fitness and nutrition related, so we'll just dive right into this. So one question I got recently, a gentleman stopped me in the gym, and if he's listening to this, I'm not making fun of you. It's just the idea that I'm making fun of, so please don't take it personally. But he stopped me in the gym and he was like, hey, I got a question. And I actually made an Instagram post about this. He's like, I'm really like focused on my goals. I really want to get in shape and change my life. What are the best thermogenics and fat burners out there? Like, what do you recommend? I know you're all about like all natural and you don't really take anything, but like I'm really focused on my goals. I'm going to do this. So let me know what to take. And for anybody else who has ever asked me about thermogenics and fat burners and what to do to like boost your metabolism and all that, I'm going to tell you exactly what I told this person and exactly what I posted on Instagram. The number one best thermogenic and fat burner out there is your body. When you move it, it heats up and it burns fat. Simple as that. So if you want a natural fat burner, go show your body some love and start getting in some movement every single day. That's literally the concept of burning fat. Your body temperature raises, your heart rate increases, and you start to sweat. That sweat, that perspiration, is your body sweating out detox. Well, not sweating out detox. It's detoxing by sweating out toxins. And it is having to burn fat to give you the energy to do the workout. It is not wise and it is not healthy to take a thermogenic or fat burner that does that for you. So to answer that, there you go. Just get up and start working out. That's my answer. The second question I got was about, I'm trying to remember this. Oh, rest and recovery. Asking about rest and recovery. If you're supposed to do 4 days on, 3 days off, 5 days, 2 days of rest, 6 days, 1 day off, deload weeks, all those things. And this is something I've been questioning myself recently because, one, I don't believe anything is what it is until I try it for myself, and then I'll let you know. Like, I don't know. I don't follow rules, and if somebody tells me like, oh, you can only work out 5 days a week and rest 2 days, I'm probably going to work out all 7 just to see for myself, even if it doesn't work out well, because that's how we remember things, is by our own experience. So the question about this, about recovery and rest and days on and days off, it's very dependent on a lot of things. So exercise is a form of stress. Your body doesn't know the difference between good stress and bad stress. So if you have a ton of stress going on personally and emotionally and mentally in your life while you are training hard 5-6 days a week, you may have to take more recovery time. You may need more rest time. It depends. On the flip side, some people are the opposite. For me, the more stressed I am, the more I will work out. So I normally do 1 full day off and then I do an active rest day. If I'm under a lot of pressure and a lot of stress, I may work out 6 full days and then do an active rest day and not take a full day off unless like my body is dying. And the reason for that is just It helps me mentally more than anything. It helps me process a lot of stress. Exercise is a form of meditation. It's a form of therapy for me. So it really depends on you personally. The main point though is, I will say the thing that's pretty even across the board for everybody is, if you're not getting enough recovery in sleep and nutrition, it's not about the days, it's more about like what you're doing outside of the gym, then you do have to take that into consideration, because sleep is something that just, God, it's so important for our brain, for our muscles, just for everything. Our central nervous system has to totally reset. Our cells, I don't know if you knew this, every time when you sleep, your brain regenerates new cells. That's why sometimes whenever you don't sleep great and you wake up, you feel groggy. You feel groggy because your brain didn't regenerate as many new cells as it would if you would have gotten a deep amount of sleep. So this is the thing you have to take into consideration more than anything, because the central nervous system is what takes on a lot of the load when we work out. So I've talked about what was it, central nervous system fatigue before on another episode. When you're under fueled, it's the same thing when you're under, sleep deprived? Yeah, sleep deprivation. So you have to take that into consideration. In regards to though, like how many days should you train, just listen to your body. If you feel great, you feel strong, you feel rested, your body's not like achy, then do what feels right. Who cares what textbooks say? Just follow whatever your body tells you to do. Hydration though is huge for helping with recovery. So typically with hydration, you want to get about half your body weight in ounces of water every day, because that water is going to help flush out the lactic acid that builds up in your body whenever you're strength training or doing resistance training. With the hydration though, if you're not using some form of electrolyte or BCAA, which I highly recommend for both men and women, it's super important, then you at least want to add a pinch of the pink Himalayan sea salt, because water is a mineral and it needs something to bind to. I said mineral, molecule, and it needs a mineral to bind to. The salt is the mineral that will bind to the molecule of water to make it easier for your body to absorb it. So take that into consideration as well. I had another question. This was in regards to carbonated beverages. Somebody asked me if it's true that if you drink diet sodas and carbonated beverages, if it creates a bad reaction in your gut and if it makes you store more body fat. You know, I've heard this before. There was this guy, so one time, this Hispanic guy, he was like super new to the American culture. We didn't really date, but we kind of dated. And so he would ask questions all the time about like American culture versus like Hispanic culture. And I remember him asking me this. He was like, doesn't Diet Coke cause cellulite? I was like, what? Who told you that? And that was kind of the same question this other guy was asking me. And I was like, look, I mean, if you have large amounts of fat and cellulite that you are trying to reduce, Diet Coke isn't going to make or break you. Carbonated beverages are not going to make and break you. What is going to make or break you is the amount of sugar, processed food, and lack of exercise you're doing. So the main point behind the diet drinks and the carbonated beverages is just everything in moderation, guys. First off, I don't really love diet beverages because of the chemicals that are in it. I mean, fortunately, there's a lot of natural stevia plant-based beverages that are out there now. They're actually pretty good. I've tried a few of them. Some of them taste really weird and they almost make, like, it's kind of weird. It just makes my mouth feel weird. I don't like it. Like, I don't know, but there are some natural ones out there. The other ones though, it's less about the carbonation. And I mean, yes, carbonation does create a reaction in your body, but just, guys, look, just to wrap this all up, if you have a significant amount of weight you need to lose, the last thing you need to worry about is carbonated beverages and fat burners. Your number one priority is to clean up your nutrition, start exercising, and work on your mindset. I always come back to this because that's all that matters. If you will consistently eat quality nutrition and fuel your body, and you consistently exercise 4 to 5 days a week, and you start to reprogram your mindset to match who it is you're becoming, you're not going to care about all this other stuff. So focus on that. So there you have it. Okay, so all the other questions, honestly, I'm just going to save them for another episode because I don't want to miss out or lose my train of thought with what this is really about. 5 wishes from your deathbed. Oh wait, I almost forgot. My podcast producer told me to work on this more. If you have any questions that you do want me to answer, or if you would like to work with me as your mindset coach and work on your fitness and nutrition, please head on over to ashleydrummons.com. There's some tabs, there's links that say work with me or contact me. Feel free to do that. Or you can just go to Instagram. It's Ashley Drummons and send me a message. I'm probably going to respond a lot faster that way. All right, back to the show. So now, 5 wishes from your deathbed. This is sounding really morbid, I'm sure, but it'll do exactly what you need it to do and what I want it to do for you. So there's this story about this guy who went to visit a friend of his who was on his deathbed and was just like asking him about like life and like now that he knows like he's on a little bit of a time limit, is there anything that he regretted or wished he would have done? And long story short, the guy did reflect back, like now that life was over and he had no different choice to make, he was reflecting back on all the things he would have done differently. And it turned into this story that is now a book of basically the guy had no choice left in life. And looking back, he could clearly see what he would have done differently. And this is common for a lot of people. They get some, like I said, some like health scare that puts into check real fast, like how short our time is and how limited it is while we're here. Or they end up like experiencing the death of a loved one, or they have a conversation like this with somebody who is on their deathbed, and it really makes you realize like, WTF, what are you doing with your time here? So the point behind this is a practice, and the way, if you take this seriously, it really can change your life and put you on a whole new path. But it's like anything you do with mindset or with meditation. If you take it seriously and you sit down and you do this, you will get crystal clear on the direction you want to head with your life, what you want, and also what you need to do to make that happen. So to put this into practice, you could sit right here in the car with me and do it with me. You can sit in the car by yourself. You can sit in the closet. You can sit wherever you want, but get super quiet, super still, and just connect to yourself first more than anything. Then you close your eyes, you put yourself in the state of mind of you being however old. Maybe you're 80, maybe you're 90, maybe you're 100 years old. All of life has gone by. It's done. Your journey, your trip here is over. And you are laying there totally alone on your deathbed, and the nurse told you like, hey, you got like a week left. We're going to make you as comfortable as we can. You're sitting there, and you're like, wow, that's it. The trip is over. In that state of mind, with your eyes closed, while you're in that, looking back from your deathbed, what are 5 things you wished you would have done? Or what are 5 things you would have changed? What are 5 of the biggest regrets that you're like, man, now that it's over, I wish I would have just this. I wish I would have just gone for it. I wish I would have just tried for that dream. I wish I would have just taken that leap. I wish I would have just called that person. I wish I would have just said this, because now your chance is done. So think about that. Like, use this if you have a mindset, which if you have a mindset practice, obviously you have a mindset. If you have a mindset practice, which obviously if you listen to this, you should, take 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, go take a walk, however long it needs to be, and like really sit with that. You're about to die. Literally. They're planning your funeral. What are your top 5 biggest regrets? And write them out and be super honest with yourself. After you get clear on that, you open your eyes and then ask yourself, what are you doing not doing that right now? What are you waiting for? So here's the point behind this, is we all have a bad habit of waiting too long to do what we need to do to move on with our life, to waiting too long to tell somebody I love you, waiting too long to make the phone call, waiting too long to go after our dreams. Like, we're waiting and waiting and waiting for what? Until the next thing you know, it's too late. Like, that time has passed. You don't get another chance at this. I mean, at least not, maybe we do all get another chance at this, but like, at least not the way you do right now. So it's like, what are you waiting for? And a lot of the things that happen are people are waiting for the right time. They're waiting for the moment when it's not so scary. It's kind of like when you hear stories about people when they first have a baby, and people are always saying like, oh, we wanted to wait until we were ready. And it's like, you're not ever going to be ready to have a baby. Or like, you start a business, you're never going to be ready to have a business. Just start it. Quit making the business plan and just start the damn business. Like, that's how it works. You build your parachute after you jump out of the plane. That's what building a business is like, and then you figure it out. But stop waiting. There's so many people, and like, it's almost gotten to the point where it's been a little, not overwhelming, but just frustrating to me, hearing how many people are just tired and going through the motion and looking for answers. And it's like, what answers are you looking for? All the answers are inside of you. If you would stop ignoring them. Stop ignoring them. Listen to yourself. Listen to your soul. Listen to your heart. You already know what you need to do, and you already know what you want. You're just procrastinating doing it for some reason. So using this tool and this technique helps you get really clear on what it is that you need to do to live a life. That way, when you do get to the end of this life, which we're all headed to the same place, hate to break it to you, nobody's going to escape the finish line here. But when you get to the finish line, you can look back and not have regrets and not have anything that you're like, man, I wonder what would have happened if I would have just tried. Or I wonder what would have happened if I would have just been brave enough or courageous enough or willing enough to even give it a shot. So a couple things that you do once you get clear on that. Number one, do the exercise. Do the exercise, don't make the excuses, and you will get crystal clear on what it is that matters most to you in this life to make your life matter. Once you get clear on those things, and if 5 is too much for you, make it 3. 3 is fine too. But what are the top 3 to 5 things, if you were looking back and death was knocking on your door, that you were like, man, why didn't I? Once you have those things, I got 5 steps for you of how to start taking action to create the change that you have to make in order to actually make those things happen, so you can have a life that you are proud of and happy and fulfilled, and you're not looking back with any regrets. Number 1. And the reason this is number 1, because if you can do number 1, you can do the other 4. Number absolute 1. Once you have that list and you are crystal freaking clear, you have to take bold action in the direction of creating that. Here's the thing. I don't remember who came up with this concept, but the idea was, if you can have 20 seconds of absolute courage to take incredible, massive, bold action, you can change your life. So let's say, I don't know, let's say your goal is you want to lose 50 pounds. What would be the incredibly scary thing that you have to do to make that happen that would require such brave, courageous action from you? And then go do it. Maybe it's not weight loss. Maybe it's a business. Let's say you have this dream business that you just keep putting off and putting off and putting off. What is the thing that scares the shit out of you that you need to do and you would have to do to have this dream business, and then go do it? Maybe it's marriage. Maybe it's a baby. Whatever it is, get clear on that one thing that's on your list that you want to do. And here's how you know if it's the right action, if it's the bold action, is if it scares you. And if it scares you, you then commit to having 20 seconds of absolute courageous action and you take it. Because the second option to that is to live with the regret and to die with that regret. Now, this can be super freaking scary, and it should be super freaking scary, but those 20 seconds of absolute courage that you have, that you act on, can change your life. So instead of getting scared of what happens if I actually do this, what happens if this fails, instead start to create the curiosity of the life that could possibly exist for you on the other 20 seconds of that courage. It could put you on an entirely new path, one that makes you really happy, deeply fulfilled, and gives you everything that you really want. And what's required of you is 20 seconds. 20 seconds to make the call, 20 seconds to say what it is that you aren't saying, 20 seconds to go after whatever it is that you really want. And that 20 freaking seconds can totally change your life in the best way possible. So that's number one. When you get super crystal clear on what this is that you want, take absolute, bold, courageous action and have 20 seconds of just, you know what? My palms are sweaty, my heart is beating, my voice is shaky, I feel like I might pass out, but I can handle it for 20 seconds in order to get on the other side of that fear to have what it is I actually want in life. Number one, bold action. Number two, paying attention to when the universe is supporting your bold action. So how do you even know what that looks like? How do you know when the universe is supporting something you're doing? It's very simple. You will have so many synchronicities. It's like you think of somebody and then boom, there they are. You had an idea about something and then boom, you're seeing signs about it. Like, synchronicities is the way the universe communicates to us of, hey, you're on the right path. Hey, that's the right thing to do. Hey, we're supporting you, and here's how we're communicating with you that we're supporting you. So that's number two. After you take that bold action, expect and look for the ways the universe supports you. Another example of this, all of a sudden you make the courageous action that you're like, you know what? I'm going for my business. I'm going to reach out to the one person that I know has money, and I'm going to ask them to listen to my idea and pitch it. And then all of a sudden you find out synchronistically that person at the exact same time was wanting to find a business to invest into. That's how you know you're being supported. Or all of a sudden you decide you want to buy a house and you reach out to a friend and say, hey, if you know anybody selling their house, let me know. The friend's like, hey, that's weird. I was just thinking of you and somebody just told me they were selling their house. That is the universe supporting your action, saying, yes, this is the right decision. You are in alignment. Keep going. Synchronicities are how we know we're in the flow. So that's number two. Pay attention to that support, because the more you pay attention to it and acknowledge it, it's not only one going to boost your confidence, it's going to boost your momentum, because then you're just following like the little breadcrumbs that the universe is giving you. Like, yes, this is the right path. Keep going. This is what your soul came here to do. This is what you really want. So number one, bold, courageous action. Number two, pay attention to the universe supporting you. Number three, stay centered and connected to yourself while in movement. So this is kind of contradicting, but it's basically saying while you are in the process of moving in the direction of what you want, stay connected and stay centered to that feeling that sparked all of this. That's your soul. That's your intuition. So when you start making big changes and you have that crystal clear moment where you're like, oh my God, I know what I want. Oh my God, I can see the answers now. That's your soul. The point of number three of staying centered is as you continue to move in this direction, because remember, this is unknown territory, do your daily mindset practices, connect to yourself, stay centered while you are moving in the direction of what you want, because that is going to be your internal GPS that keeps telling you where you need to go, who you need to talk to, and what you need to do. So that's number three. Number four, man, oh man, if I haven't said this 1,000 times, surround yourself with people who support who you are becoming in the direction that you are heading. You cannot have a positive life while you are surrounding yourself with negative people. You cannot get in shape and live a healthy and fit lifestyle while you are surrounding yourself with people who eat junk food and drink every night. You cannot be successful if you hang out around people who are talking about how they're always broke. You cannot be in a happy relationship while you're surrounded by people who all they do is complain about their significant other. You just can't. No matter how many times you try to convince yourself, and yes, it's hard to let go of people. Nobody wants to do it. It's not easy for anybody, but if you want specific things in your life, you are going to have to set hard boundaries and make it a priority to surround yourself with people who are moving in that same direction. So, here's something you can practice. How to tell if somebody is good or, God, I shouldn't have said that. All right, so I don't like good or bad for people because nobody is good or bad. So we'll say in alignment or not in alignment, because that's really all it is how to tell if somebody is in alignment with you and when they're not. As in, is this somebody that I should continue to have in my life? Or should I start kind of taking some space and separating myself and allowing people who are in alignment to come in? So here's how you can figure that out. Number one is your body is always communicating with you. It's crazy. See, this is why I love the body. This is why I love the mind and the body, because it's like our whole soul exists in here. So it's always guiding us and navigating and telling us what's right and what's wrong. We just, half the time, we refuse to listen to it. But in regards to who you surround yourself with, here is a very simple test that you can do where your body will instantaneously respond to you. You have to be super present and super aware. So I actually was explaining this to one of my clients recently about paying attention to the response in her body to get better at connecting to her intuition. So what you can do, let's say you have 5 friends. 1 you feel awesome about, the other 4 you're not so sure about. You can get really still and quiet with yourself, pull their name up on your phone, and immediately see what happens in your body. Do you smile? Do you kind of light up? Does your heart kind of flutter? Do you feel happy? Or do you kind of get oh God, I know I'm supposed to call them, but I don't really want to? Do you get kind of tense? Do you feel kind of stressed? Do you get kind of anxious? Do you kind of delay talking to them? Your body instantaneously responds. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's crazy in a great way. It's really cool. Or you can look at somebody's picture. Let's be honest, social media consumes everybody. Go to their Facebook profile, go to their Instagram picture, look at their picture and see instantly what happens without you even think about it. Do you smile? Or do you kind of feel different? Do you feel sad? Do you feel heavy? For me, it's more of a heavy and lightness that I'll feel. I'll either feel everybody has a different way that it shows up for them. So when something or someone feels off, my body feels really heavy. I don't know, almost like somebody just knocked the wind out of me, or just there's some tightness in my chest, which to me, that lets me know all right, this person's energy is kind of heavy. It's dense. It's a little gray. It doesn't mean anything bad. It just maybe means we're not really vibrating at the same pace, or we're not really on the same page. We're not really moving in the same direction. The same is also true when I think of somebody like my brother Michael, who's one of my best friends, or my dad. When I think of them, I don't even have to look at their picture, or when their name pops up on my phone, I feel so much love. It's I get oh, it's my dad, or oh, it's Michael. It's this feeling of lightness and love and happiness and joy. So pay attention, and you can use this as just a fun experiment of getting to know yourself, getting to know your own intuition, is pay attention to your body's natural response. Because here's the thing, is we can control certain things. You cannot control how you respond physically. We don't have control over those things. So think about your body's response when you bring up the idea of talking to somebody or stop talking to somebody. And that's fun too, because if you think about not having to talk to somebody, do you instantly feel a sense of relief of oh, All right, I didn't really feel like it anyways. That's probably not the best person to surround yourself with. So when you're doing this and you're focused on number 4 of surrounding yourself with people who are moving in the direction that you want to move and that you are working on becoming, who lights you up? Who makes you feel good? Who motivates you and inspires you? And when you think of them, they put a smile on your face and they just feel so good. Like, I was going to say in your body, but then that felt kind of sexual and I didn't need sexual. It's just like, they just feel like your body responds positively when they're around. Whoever those people are, whoever does that to you, those are the people you need to prioritize and keep them super close, and you lock it down and you just cherish and value those people. Like, I love my people and they know it. Like, I let them know so much of like, hey, I love you. I am so grateful for you. Thank you for existing in my life. Thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life, because you drastically impact my overall happiness, my well-being. You give me so much connection. You have to make the changes necessary with the people in your life for those that are not lifting and lighting you up. And I'm not saying you got to cut off everybody else. It's not about that. It's just prioritizing. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But I mean, you're going to be that 90, 100-year-old person sitting there and be like, God, why did I hold on to Sally for so long? What a drag. Okay, I'm kidding. That was kind of mean. And I don't know anybody named Sally, but seriously, like, just to put it into perspective, it's no different than when you were in high school and you thought all the people in high school were always going to be your best friends. Like, we probably had some cheesy saying of like, no way, like, my ride or die. Like, those are my people. We're doing life together. And then you become an adult and you're like, I don't even remember that person's name anymore. Think of it in that kind of perspective. You were just making some shifts and changes because you did the practice at the beginning of this of figuring out what you don't want to regret when life comes to an end. And you are lining things up so that you can have a life that's fulfilling by surrounding yourself with people who support that. So that's number 4. Don't make excuses. Do what you got to do and make the changes. Number 5, you have to believe that you can actually have what you want. And this is a daily practice that you have to foster. It's so easy. You know, when we first make big changes and we're like, you know what, I'm going to do it. Ashley said, like, all I need is 20 seconds of courageous action and just being bold and being brave. I'm going to do it. You do it and you muster up all this courage and you believe in yourself and you can see like all the shiny stars at the end of the tunnel, and then you do it and then you're like, boom, it actually worked out. Now you have to continually foster the belief and maintain that attitude and that inspiration and that motivation throughout the process, because new habits take some time before they stick. And if you don't do the daily practice of focusing on what it is you're moving towards, those creepy little old familiar habits are going to start popping back up. All of a sudden, those people that you were letting go of are going to start creeping back in your DMs. They're going to start showing back up in your life. Be like, oh, it's fine. We'll hang out once. Oh, it's fine. We'll hang out some more. Oh, we'll keep hanging out. And then before you know it, you're like, crap, I'm stuck again. I'm stuck back in my old patterns with the same people doing the same thing that I used to do. So you have to have the focus and discipline on this. And one of the tools that I give people when they're making these changes and they're talking about, they're like, this week was great. And then they're like, last week sucked. I totally fell off track. Your subconscious is a sponge. It will happily absorb whatever you give it over and over and over again. This is why people struggle with things that happen to them in their childhood as an adult, because as a child, something happened, you created a story and belief, and you've been repeating that damn story for like 20 something years. So don't expect this to just happen overnight. But one of the things that you can do to help support that is when you're like, man, I'm doing it. I'm living the life that I want. I'm going after this. Here's my goal. Here's who I'm becoming. When I die, I am not living any regrets. You can put up stuff everywhere that you constantly find yourself in. So, not even being sarcastic, we're in the car right now. I have a 3x5 card that I keep on my dash right in front of the RPMs that has 4 to 5 things, call them affirmations, mantras, whatever you want, in each category of my life. So money and career, health and fitness, friendships, love and relationships. I have it written out in present state. So not like I will, it's I am. And every time I get in the car, if I'm stopped at a red light, if I'm stuck in traffic, I look down and it's right there. That's the direction that I'm headed. Literally in my car and in my mind and in my life. Stick those notes everywhere that you're looking. Stick it on the mirror. Stick it on your computer screen. Stick it as the screensaver on your phone to reinforce the new principles and beliefs that you are putting into your life so that you can accomplish those 3 to 5 things that you got super crystal clear on. The last thing I'll say about this, and this isn't really like an exercise or like a step, it's more so just a habit to do every single day, is gratitude and appreciation. When you are in a state of gratitude, you are in a state of openness. There's a part of you that opens up because you are recognizing what you have, and your heart opens because it's appreciating and it's feeling love. Gratitude opens you up and allows you to receive the things that you want. If you're not open, how are you going to receive the things that you want, no matter how much bold action you take? So by expressing gratitude, and it doesn't have to be like huge things, just little things. I'm grateful being the sun's out. And I talk about gratitude a lot. And there's so many like law of attraction and manifestation books out there that talk about it. And like, people have almost kind of dismissed it as like, oh yeah, I wrote my gratitude journal today. Like, dear God, thank you for the food. Thanks that I got to work. Thanks for this. And I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking to something that feels like a ritual or a chore. I'm talking about the actual feeling. If you don't write anything down, I don't care. If you feel gratitude and appreciation though, that's what I care about, because that's an emotion. That's your heart. That is your heart opening up. If you're just writing stuff down without any kind of emotion connected to it, then you're defeating the purpose. Like, that's like when a guy buys a girl flowers just for the sake of like, I think I'm supposed to do this because this is something nice and what nice guys do, but there's no emotion behind it. You might as well just forget the flowers. Like, there's no point in that. So getting in a regular state of gratitude, and it's not always easy, but getting in a regular state of that is going to help open you up to receive the things that you want, but also what you focus on expands. When you're expressing gratitude and your mind is focused on everything that you have to be grateful for, you start to attract more things into your life that you're going to be grateful for. That's the way the life works. That's the way the universe works. What you focus on, life continues to bring more of. This doesn't mean that you are just somebody who never has problems and you're happy all the time. That's called denial. I'm not talking about like relentless optimism. That's annoying and that's not healthy. Authentic gratitude and authentic optimism is totally different. It means that you acknowledge your reality and what you're in, and you find the silver lining in all of it. You choose to see things to be grateful for in it. It doesn't mean you don't pretend like you don't have crap going on. It's just your focus isn't on that though. So gratitude, foster an attitude of gratitude. Look for things to be grateful for, and you'll end up attracting more and more of that into your life. So this is what I really wanted. Like, this was the bulk of what I wanted to get to. Because it always now I'm just going to talk. We're just going to talk like you really are in the car with me. It always just surprises me. Like, this better not be you. But like, people will listen to a podcast like this and they're like, oh man, you know what? I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go change things. And then you go hang out with them and they're sitting in the living room with their family, their supposed loved ones, and none of them are actually there. They're all on the phone. They have a moment to create connection and conversation and share love with people they love, but instead they're spending their time on their phone, or they're spending their time arguing or fighting or something stupid. It's like, you guys know your time is limited, right? Like, any day, the person that you love and appreciate so much, they could be gone. And this is how you want to spend your time with them? Not only their time, but your time. Or even like in a different kind of perspective. People talk about how much they hate their job or they're not fulfilled in a relationship. And then you listen to a podcast and a conversation like this, and then tomorrow they're back doing the same thing. You're like, do you not get it? Like, you really do have a choice in everything you do in life, and the universe supports your choices. But do you not understand that, like, this is kind of the path you're going to stay on unless you do something about it? Like, nobody's going to come save you and be like, hey, you know what? I think that you want to live a life with no regrets, so I'm going to do the work for you. I'm just going to pick you up and drop you off on the easier path. It doesn't work that way. You have to be somebody who is strong enough, brave enough, and confident enough to do the hard things to create the life that you really want, because it is a lot harder to get to the end of life and realize you wasted it and it's full of regrets. So instead, do the things that are hard now so that you can have the life that you want, so that when you are one day on your deathbed, you're like, you know what? Yeah, sometimes it was a little bit uncomfortable. Sometimes I had to step outside my normal routine. Sometimes I had to take huge risks. Sometimes they worked out. Sometimes they didn't. But at least I can say I lived life fully and I don't have any regrets, and I wasn't too scared to try. So just please take that into consideration. And I'm saying this because, I don't know, I genuinely care. I genuinely want you to be happy. I genuinely want everybody to be present, happy, to really have the things that they want in life. And I think sometimes we just get so caught up in going through the motions that we forget we have a choice, and we forget what it is that we even want or what that matters. So lay on that deathbed in your mind and think about it. You got 24 hours to live. What 5 things do you regret the most? Write it out. Then go be so freaking brave for 20 seconds and do what it is you need to do in order to cross those regrets off that list. All right. That's enough. Like I said, it was going to sound really morbid, but it wasn't morbid at all. It was just to put you in the state of mind that allows you the opportunity for change to have the life that you want. So you're welcome. Also, if you ever have issues with getting in a state of gratitude, you can do the exact same thing with people or things. All you have to do is imagine if that thing or that person didn't exist, how different would your life be? Then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for life. It's like when you're sick and then you get your health back and you're like, God, I'm just so grateful to feel good. Well, instead of letting it get to that point, just get clear on what you want and then express gratitude for it now. Okay. Thank you so much for riding in the car with me. Thank you for being a passenger. Like I said, we've talked about this for about 45 minutes to an hour, and now you can play DJ with the radio or with your iPhone or whatever it is you want to do and go about your day. But please don't go about the rest of your day without doing this exercise, because you really do have the power to change your life, and you really can have everything that you want if you just muster up the courage to do what you need to do in order to have it. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe and share this episode with somebody who you think might enjoy it. Other than that, I'll see you in the next episode. Have a fantastic day.